This is Grant from State of the Spark, and I am super, super pumped to have Nick here. Nick is a guy
What's
that
up,
I've
guys?
known. We talked like officially, like maybe twice,
Yeah,
and he's the founder of Lead Mining Pros, and I've known him for long enough to know that they started out just doing lead mining, and leadminingpros.com is phenomenal. You got the link down there, everybody. But now they've begun to niche. He says about 80% of his business is coming up with leads for real estate agents, real estate agencies. So you guys can check that out. It's an industry leader. So you guys got to go check out lead mining. But
absolutely.
I'm super pumped because you guys know I love following the journey of how people got here, some of the shit they went through, some of the conflict, but also like some of the goodness that comes out of that. So we're just going to chat and you guys get to tag along. So Nick, thanks for being here, dude.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Now,
Oh,
now, now, this is mostly for me. This first part, and I mentioned that we were going to talk about this. Is remind me of how you got from restaurant work to like this industry leading business. Like, what was the major shift for you?
wow. Well, there was a couple of major shift. I mean, God, I still get them. But, I will try every day. I get a couple major shifts. But,
Okay,
basically, I was a restaurant manager 13 years. I always said that industry really taught me what I don't want to have in my own business. Right.
really?
Yeah, your restaurant, I mean, 80 employees on a shift, that sucks. That's too many people. That's number one. Number two is like products, food, biodegradable stuff. We don't want that. Number three is, when my feet were in the building, it ran differently. I hated that. Like whenever I wasn't at the restaurant,
Okay.
it operated differently. Restaurants aren't consistent engines. Okay. If your
The system
leadership,
is dependent on the charisma.
sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there were, I remember I came up with this saying in the restaurant industry. And because I would build employees up and make them great and make them great. And then you put one shitty manager on, and then that person's fired at the end of that shift. And then they call me, it hit me. It takes years to build skyscrapers
Yeah.
and 20 minutes to knock them down.
Oh, yes.
So it's like, it really taught me so much about that level of leadership. Well, like I said, the restaurant industry taught me what I don't want in my own business, right? So
Interesting.
that was definitely one of the things I didn't want. It ran so drastically. If I was off and another bad manager came on, I would have to come in again and then clean up all the mistakes he made and then start my shift.
So
So
it's like
I
every
didn't
shift
like
you're
that.
starting over.
Yeah, yeah. Unless you're synergized, unless you have a great team. But in restaurants, you may know you don't get to pick your team. So it's not up to you if your team is great. And in most cases,
Mm,
I was such a great leader that they gave me all of the crap very often.
yeah.
That I would like make up for their crap,
Oh,
essentially.
yeah.
And
It's
I
like the
did.
reward for good work is more work.
Yeah, maybe you can help these four really shitty managers get better. I don't know. Maybe they'll make you worse. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll figure it out. That's kind of like the restaurant motto, right? Um,
Interesting.
whenever you can handle a lot, instead of like necessarily being praised, they go, good, that is how much you should be handling. Let me give you all this extra stuff. And then it kind of chips away a little bit. And the
Interesting.
the last thing that the restaurant industry taught me was all the damn hours I did not want to work to run my business. Um,
Yes.
Restaurants, if no one shows up, there is no work from home. Okay. There
Yeah.
is,
Ever.
yeah, there is no grill cook who's flipping burgers at the house, for the shift, so it's only that grease. Now, that
Yeah,
same
man.
grease, if you will, taught
Mhm.
me to be the badass I am today, for lack of a better term. There's there's so many situations that I've had to walk into. I mean, 13 years of restaurant management,
Yeah.
anywhere from, bodily fluids, to, people finding their own hair in their food and yelling at me for it,
Oh,
their own
yeah.
hair. I had a guy with full of gray hair give me a sandwich that had gray hair in it. And I'm like, look, I don't even care. Whatever, the sandwich is free. I'm not here to
Yeah.
argue whose hair it is. That's not what I'm here to talk about, But anyways, so that's where it started. So
Interesting.
my first shift was being a part of something that had a lot of unlikable qualities.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, like you tell these horror stories. I had a lot of jobs, but I ran a telemarketing floor with 40
Mm.
people chasing tax evaders and trying to
Ah.
negotiate their back taxes. And I actually loved the job because I was really good
Mm.
at it. But I was working the night shift, and the pinnacle when I knew that I needed to make a shift, I needed to do something different over the course of my life. I could tolerate it for now, but was when everyone went to lunch at like 8 p.m. and at 9 p.m. one of my closers or one of my openers came back to the floor a little late. I was like, "Where you been?" And he was bandaged up like in the arm. And I was like, well, "What's going on?" And he said, "Hey, Grant, don't fire me for being late. I really need to make this money." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I went to a drug deal. I got shot. I got booked. They sent me to the hospital. I got bailed, and I got to make bail money." And I was like, "Bro, like, what am I doing with my life?"
Yeah, right,
I got to do something more.
right.
So then what changed? So you were doing this and this was weighing on you, but what practically made the shift happen?
Wow. So I remember, I'll never forget, after 12 years, I mean, I was out of fresh experiences. Okay. So
Oh,
after
wow.
12 years, I'd known the path of every road. I cleaned up so much vomit and hair by this time that I knew everything. So I was a little like the Wizard of Oz. Nick, table, yes. I was like a Jedi. Yes, get table 42 a free dessert. Nick, table, yes. I saw their frowning face. Go ahead, let's take great care of them. Like I literally mastered it. So once I mastered it, all the fun was gone. I
Gone.
am now I'm now a master. And it's
Yeah.
not, there's no more challenge. So after that, I started getting, I never knew what Smashing Pumpkins meant. Whenever they said, despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
remember sitting in a restaurant, and let me tell you what, I was badass, dude. I would buy people drinks for no reason. I'd be like, hey, welcome to the restaurant. Those drinks are on us. No
Oh
reason,
my
just to make
gosh.
people happy. And
Yeah.
then I realized I was giving everyone the greatest experience in the world,
Yeah.
and no one was giving me the greatest experience in the world. And
Wow.
that was my like, I'm fucking done. Like, I
Yeah.
need to be the guy sitting at the fucking bar. I need to be the guy sitting in the restaurant. I'm done. Like, I mean, 13 years I'm averaging, I would say I average 65 hours a week. Um,
Man.
every restaurant job I ever had, except for one, was
Wow.
in a different city other than Lakeland, which is where I'm from. So I
Wow.
I commuted an hour every career except for one place, which was Beef O'Brady's, which 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 was downtown, or which
Yeah.
was on the South Lake Miriam Drive.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's what gave me that. Then I get transferred to this new job, or it's a new store, old job, and I'm scheduled 90 hours a week. I kid you not. I already have the
Like on the
epiphany
schedule.
on the schedule for 6 weeks straight, because that's how long we write schedules for. I'm
What?
scheduled 6 15-hour days a week for
What?
6 weeks straight. I swear to God. That's right. This is our Glory Days grill for anyone who's enjoying their buffalo wings right now, in case you're wondering. Uh,
A glory days. Holy crap.
Yeah, yeah, they must have thought, and I can appreciate it. Maybe looking back, they knew that I was like half Spartan or something. They were like, Nick's got this stuff, But anyway, so once I saw that schedule, I was done. I already knew I was done,
Yeah.
and then the shift was to the restaurant in Lakeland. So it was the first time ever I didn't have to commute 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And the gift for not commuting was a longer shift. And an extra day a week. Instead of 5 days, I got 6. It was right when the restaurant first opened, which is why it was
Holy
like that.
cow.
Yeah. And I went in there and I was like, I'm not doing this. I don't know who the fuck you think I am. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know who you think I am. I'm not doing this. Fix the schedule. They tell me they're
Wow.
going to fix the schedule. I come in the next day, literally first day saw the schedule, first day ever on shift in that Lakeland store, saw the
Yeah.
schedule, complained, fixing it tomorrow. Day 2, walked in, not fixed. I walked out.
Just
I didn't
quit
even,
cold.
yeah, I'm out. I'm not talking to you. And you know what else? Everyone else was scheduled 5 days a week. Glory Days Girl is going to hate me saying this. Everyone else was scheduled 5 days a week, and I was the only one scheduled 6. So a part of my issue was like the literal harassment, discrimination, whatever you would consider it. You know,
Man,
I had the attitude that I'll work with the team works, and the whole team was scheduled 5, and I was scheduled 6. And
man.
the logic there was that they just got done working 6 days a week for the last 6 weeks. So now that
Sure.
I'm there, I have to work 6 days a week while they work 5. And I was like, it doesn't really work like that.
No,
You know,
dude.
but anyway, so that was my catalyst. If that would have never happened, true story about that. I had severe body pain at the time, and I had no idea. I'd never had pain before. I had like really bad stomach pain. I was getting it more and more frequently. It was like bothering me. Um,
Really?
yeah, and it was severe. And the day I quit my job, it left and it never came back.
Were you aware of that correlation? Like
I was
immediately?
not. I actually was leaving that day. My
Yeah.
excuse was I was going to quit that day because I had to go to the hospital. Was actually my excuse. I ended up not going to the hospital. I just went home. But I
Yeah.
swear to you, after that day, it was done. I woke up the next day. The
Wow.
pain hurt less, and then I realized that. And this is my first correlation ever. If you would have asked me, I was 30 years old. If you
Yeah.
would have asked me ever before that, if I believed that stress could cause physical pain, my
Yeah.
answer would have been no. There's not a chance.
Yeah.
I would have not said yes. So that path was literally my path to really my enlightenment, my
Yeah.
spiritual journey that I'm on now was all cataclysmic up into this scenario.
Well, I was watching your video from earlier today, just kind of catching up with like your story today and what was going on. And
Love
you
it.
you quoted Joe Dispenza, Dr. Dispenza,
Yeah.
and he's a big proponent of psychology, leading physiology. And Tony Robbins was the first person I heard say that phrase: "Psychology leads physiology, not the other way around." Or I'm sorry,
Right.
physiology leads psychology. But it can happen in these moments of stress where your brain is just melting your body, and we're not programmed to pay attention to those signals,
Right.
or we don't correlate them. We're like,
Yeah.
it's something else. I can endure this, but it's not.
Well,
That your health. Go
well,
ahead.
and you and I, how old are you?
41 this year.
Okay, so you and I, we're a part of, I'm 36.
Okay.
So you and I, we're a part of a generation that's pretty much ignorant of the human body. I feel
Yeah.
like new age kids now, like they have a headache and they know it's from their homework assignment that they're not doing. You know what I mean? But like back, right though? Back
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm hurt. It's like, shut up, get back
Yeah.
to work. Okay?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're hurt. So, the thing about our generation, I feel like, is we have a little bit of the baby boomers,
Yeah.
and a little
Yeah.
bit of the millennials. So my age is actually the oldest millennial. Fun
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
which is in 85, I was born. So I'm like
Mm.
I'm the oldest. We had cell phones in high school
Yeah.
when I was coming up.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, back to the story. So
Yeah.
this caused me to quit
Yep.
the restaurant industry. Now, after
Yep.
that, I applied to all these jobs. I ended up picking up a job at this place called, I got it just by a stroke of luck. It was called Clever Investor.
Oh
And
yeah, I'm familiar.
yeah, and it really saved my life. Clever
Really?
Investor, yeah, saved my life. I was in the restaurant industry. I was unemployed for 9 weeks. And I applied to every job on Craigslist, dude. Every job. A fun fact: almost every job I've ever had, I found on Craigslist. Every job that was really good. I
That's funny.
That's crazy. Well, I guess that's what happens when you're a restaurant person too, right? And from our generation. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I've had to look for a job for 10 years, thank God. But so I found it on Craigslist, and it was a weird application. It was
Yeah.
like, hey, make the subject clever carrot, and make sure you mention your grandmother somewhere in the story, and answer these 3 questions with 200 words or less. And so it was like really like a puzzle. So anyways, I
Yeah.
fill out the application for the first time in my life. I'm paying attention, little ADD jab.
Yeah.
But so I'm actually reading the details and I fill out everything and they call me. They're like, wow. They said, do you know we've had over 100 people apply and only you and one other person actually did it properly?
Interesting.
And I was like, wow, yeah, that's crazy. So anyways, we have a great interview. I don't hear from them for 2 weeks. At this week, I'm like week 10 unemployed. And,
Wow.
as a, when you're used to working 70 hours a week,
Yeah.
depression sets in,
Yeah.
we didn't need money. I was married. I'm divorced now, but we didn't need money. It wasn't a money stress. It was just like, what am I doing with my life stress? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's just open for time. You don't know purpose anymore. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The restaurant industry, I'm trying to be done with it so bad. I never want to go back. Yes, I could step into 70,000 a year right now, but I do not want to do that. So,
Yeah.
so clever. 2 weeks goes by. I don't hear a word. For the first time in my life, I follow up with a job, and I say, "Hey, normally I don't do this, but we had such a good talk. I was just
Yeah.
wondering, you guys still looking?" Send. 20 minutes later, I get a call. Nick, we totally forgot about you. You're hired. Can you start
What?
tomorrow? Yes. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah, man.
oh, let me tell I didn't even know what I was getting paid. It didn't matter. I was
Yeah.
like, whatever. They started me off at $18 an hour. This is where,
Dang. 10 years
yeah,
ago.
yeah. I was 30. I was 30.
Okay.
So 6 years ago, thank God.
Yeah.
But so $18 an hour they
Yep.
offered me, and I was super thankful. Now I was just coming off of $70,000 a year,
Sure.
but I was also working 70 hours a week, but I didn't care. And here's where everything always works out. So my first week with them, 70 hours a week. My second week with them, 75 hours a week. My
What?
third week, 65 hours a week. And at this point, I'm built for the job. I'm used to working this much.
Yeah.
There's actually probably no one better for the job than me. And for the first time in my life, Grant, I'm hourly.
Oh, wow. What a
So
relief.
so every hour I'm like, cha-ching, baby, let's go. Let's go. 13 years I was salary.
Man.
So it was the perfect storm of,
Yeah.
clearly I'm not a pessimist, right? I mean,
Sure.
my stories could always go one of two ways, and I never really look at things from like the negative side.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so I worked with there within, this is true. Within 3 months, I get my first promotion. I become a manager.
Wow.
Now I'm making more money, like 45,000 base plus still overtime. Then
Wow.
2 months later, another promotion. 1 month later, they promote me to being an executive over the entire division. I am
Wow.
literally out of restaurants at this time, less than a year, and
Wow.
I've gotten 3 promotions, and
Yeah.
I'm now making $70,000 again, and
Wow.
and I'm only working 35 to 40 hours a week.
Man. Wow.
It's crazy. So
Yeah.
now, what this company does, to be honest with you, I worked there for 3 months before I even knew what they did. I just did what they told me to do for the first 3 months. I was like, you got, okay, and then what? Okay, and now what?
Yeah. I got it. I got it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what the hell we're doing, but I'm doing
Yeah,
it.
man.
Well, what they were is they were a real estate education company
I
that
remember
teaches
this. Yeah.
people how to invest in real estate,
Yeah.
wholesaling, fix and flip, buy and hold, that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, now I'm an executive, so I'm overseeing 2,000 people that have purchased our program. It gave me a
Yeah.
really unique perspective. So don't forget, I came from a world where everyone complained to me about everything, restaurants, and it
Yep.
was my job to fix every solution.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of my departments at Clever was retention, which is people either wanting their
Interesting.
money back or quitting or they're mad at us. So again, I was perfectly aligned. I'm still dealing with people complaining. So I had this
Mm.
30,000 foot view of this whole industry. and everything that was wrong with it through 2,000 people who went through the program, and I'm their number one point of contact.
Yep.
And that's what led me to creating Lead Mining in the end, because I had this unique perspective of the whole industry only
Interesting.
based off of its issues, right?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
so everyone was like, oh, direct mail is too expensive. It costs so much money. Oh, I hate doing follow-up myself. Oh, this is all these systems are so difficult to put together. I can't learn how to invest in real estate and how to use a computer and how to be a
Interesting.
good cold caller at the same
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we do at Lead Mining is it's done for you lead generation. We do everything.
Interesting.
You just need to show up with money at Lead Mining and we get to work. You don't need to do anything except
That's
pay us.
badass. So I didn't realize you came to that from real estate. That's pretty like there's a big mantra that one of my mentors always said, and that's grow what you know. And also and it's exactly what you're saying, but the principle is that which people are complaining about is probably the market opportunity. And
Right.
if you can listen to people, and both of us are very people oriented people, and they think that we're talking over them, but the truth is I actually, like, aside from the show, I listen more than I talk. I just get them talking, and then they start sharing their life story, and then they start bitching at you and complaining, but you're listening and going, oh that, okay, and you're just making a
Right.
bullet list of your features and benefits pitch.
Exactly. Dude, the whole
Good for
thing,
you.
and Lead Mining this is one thing people say about business, and that's right. My business is I don't like to start with an initial investment. Anything I do is not going to cost more than $2,000 to start,
Yeah.
right? And it's because if it is, and then now I've got a chance to lose because you could,
Yeah.
I need to buy a bunch of product, I need to buy a bunch of inventory units. I don't really mess with stuff like that. I'm not
Yeah.
scared of it, but it's not my go-to. My go-to is something I can elbow grease,
Yeah.
and Lead Mining never cost me a penny before it made me money.
Wow.
It has always been profitable. And I was just looking at our numbers. I remember I was making $70,000 a year.
Yep.
Then I found Lead Mining. Our first 6 months in business, we did $300,000 in sales.
Man.
Yeah, for
Holy
two of those
cow.
months, Grant, true story, we didn't even have a website.
How are you selling? How are you fulfilling? I mean, you're just
Dude.
delegating to your outsourced people?
Well, so you're going to love this. So at Clever, we use the software called Infusionsoft. Are you familiar
Yeah.
with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, that's so all I had was an Infusionsoft account. And at the time, I just created landing pages and I pointed them out checkout screens. And I was like,
Oh.
we're just getting it done, And what happened was my business, this is another true story. My business didn't take one marketing dollar until we were open for over a year and a half.
Wow.
So prior to that, I was only attacking Facebook real estate groups. And this was back in a time when no one was doing what I was doing.
Interesting.
I
Yeah,
was
that's old school ago. Yep.
so if you think about it, I
Yep.
created a guerrilla cold calling tactic and simultaneously a guerrilla personal marketing tactic. Both
Yep.
systems went off exactly at the same time. And the guerrilla for my personal brought me in clients like crazy.
Really?
Yeah, we've been, like I said, 30,000 in 6 months. I don't even know what that math is, but
Yeah.
man, is that 50 G's a month?
Something
That
to
is,
that. Yeah.
that is crazy. I didn't even know what was happening back then.
But back up here. So what I'm curious about is, well, one of the things I'm passionate about is, okay, what's the head game? Did you just start selling at this level and did it shock you and you had to level your thinking up, or had you already leveled your thinking up because of Clever and this was just beneath you and it was just a matter of fact? Like, how were you compared to this level of performance internally, the head game?
So here's the reality. I gave you the short version, which still
Sure.
took me 24 minutes, which I do apologize. I'm
No
sorry.
worries, dude. That's what we're here for.
I'm so long-winded sometimes. But there's really a couple of answers to your question.
Yeah.
Number one, when I quit Clever, I went home. When I requested to work from home for Clever, because that's what I did, things were going well in the office. I was like, hey, you know what? I got the solution. Cut my pay. Send me home. And I'll never come into the office again. They cut my pay by 50%, and they sent
Wow.
me home, and they never heard from me again. I worked for them for 3 months from home, and it was awesome. Awesome.
Fell in love with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
the truth is my job was so systematized, so I really had it down to like 5 hours a week. So even though I was
Oh,
making half the pay, I had 1/8 of the commitment.
nice.
Yeah. So I took
Nice.
that time and I
Yeah.
cold called and I cold called and I cold called. I literally dialed
Wow.
300 to 600 dials a day for 3 months straight.
That's what you have
So
to do. I ran a telemarketing floor. That's what you have to do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My friends now, I can tell like when my friends have like senioritis,
Yeah.
and they have a business and I'm like, this is what you got to do. Like, yeah, I don't want to do it. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you then, because at some level you have to be the number one employee in your company. If you were
Mm-hmm.
never the number one employee in your company, then it's never going to be like to where my company is now. It's never going to be, to that huge stature. Um,
Yeah.
so any, so anyways, the mindset shift. So when I was cold calling and I was doing so good at generating leads, I was actually cold calling to generate deals. But a little secret, I'm not a closer. Okay.
Oh, tell the
That is,
truth.
that is not what I do, man. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Even my product now, people call me and they have questions. That
Yeah.
is it, because my product piques curiosity. Oh, you cold call? You have Americans? Tell me
Yeah.
more. Oh, great.
Yeah.
What do you want to know? I don't have like a spiel. I mean, I can talk, but it's best in the Q&A format. So,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I had so no closed deals, but a mountain of leads. And I was like, wow, like I am so good. And my restaurant career taught me if I suck this bad and did that good,
Yeah.
that means I can scale,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know? So I knew right away, Grant, like when I was horrible, this is my first month ever cold calling, like in my life ever. And I got over 75 leads in my first month. It was like
Wow.
astronomical. And
Wow.
I have it. We still use it to this day. I created a script. I created a
Yeah.
training system. I created
Yes.
I created all this stuff, and then I built a business around it. So the mindset shift was unique for me because if I look
Mm.
back at my life, my life is a Bible story. Like
Okay.
I literally see how like I was born weeds, and then like a
Okay.
family found me and brought me into a hut. And then I became a restaurant manager where I learned all of these intense skills, and I basically became like a customer service barbarian at this time. And it taught me how to like systematize and train and develop people. It taught me all of that in a physical sense. That's why I was
Yeah.
still a barbarian. Then
Interesting.
at Clever, I became a wizard because at Clever, everything was digital. So now I like have my staff and I'm like shooting Wi-Fi lightning bolts at it. And
You're giving me some great quotables. I'm going to capture some of these.
please, please do. But
Yeah.
so, I'm shooting these lightning bolts. I no longer have to flip the burger, right? I
Yeah.
now make the phone call. I
Yeah.
now jump on the Zoom call. And
Yeah.
so what happened was, this is very unique for me because I actually had to use the digital remote aspect that Clever taught me,
Yep.
and then the hard grunt hiring, training, development, systematizing aspect that restaurants taught me.
Yeah.
So for me at the time, let's just say it was a mindset shift 15 years in the making at this point,
Sure.
you
Okay.
know?
So the head game was just shifting already, and this just synchronized in a moment for you.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
what actually happened in the actual set of times was this: Clever was paying me 50% of my pay, which was $750 a week at the time. So I'm making that take home. Then now I'm making that. Now what happened was I was cold calling, and someone called me and said, "Hey Nick, I see your cold call. Will you call for me? I'll pay you." And I said, "Yeah, I'll call for you. $150 a week." So then I start doing that 30 minutes a day. Another guy,
Wow.
yeah, another guy calls me. "Hey Nick, I see you cold calling. Can I pay you to cold call?" "Yeah, you can." Boom, $150 a week. Another guy calls me. "Hey Nick, I used to be with Clever. Could you coach me?" "Yeah,
Wow.
$200 a week." "Okay, great." So now, when you were talking about the mindset shift in
Yeah.
real time, okay,
Yes.
in real time, here's what's happening. I'm like, holy shit, I'm making almost $1,300 a week. And at this time, I'm only working 5 for Clever, 1 hour a day between the two cold calling clients, and then 1 hour a week between the other one. So I'm literally
Wow.
at like 12 hours a week, and I'm making $1,300 a week. And so
Man.
this for me, coming from a 70-hour work week mentality,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, something. Dude, I'll never forget it, Grant. I called my mom and my dad, and I go, guys, something's happening. Something's happening right now. You know,
Interesting.
I could feel it in the air. Cash was flowing to me. People were
Yeah.
being attracted to me.
Yeah.
And then one day, I'm highly competitive. And then one day I see a post by a competing foreign cold calling company. It was some Filipino, and
Yeah.
the post wasn't even good English. "If you need cold call, text me,"
Oh
basically
my
was what it
gosh.
said.
Yeah.
And I think as business owners, you and
Yeah.
probably your viewers can relate. There's like something about the ego, maybe the word's not ego, but of the business owner, where
Yeah.
I feel that my product is the best product in the world. Okay,
Yeah, man.
right? For my industry. Let me put it
Yeah.
like that. So for my industry, I don't think anyone. I'll never tell you another cold calling company is better than me, and they
Yeah.
aren't. Okay, and they
Yeah.
aren't. I'm not making that up. You know, we have over 340 positive reviews.
Yeah.
You can't even find a competitor with over 50. I promise. So,
Wow.
anyways, so I saw this post, and I was like, how dare this foreign person outmarket me, right?
And you don't know if you're mad at them or mad at yourself.
Right. Yeah. I'm using my competitive nature
Yeah.
to be triggered, but it's really not her. It's like it's me. And at this point, I had 3 cold calling clients, and that was it. And I
Wow.
make this post, and I don't remember what I said, but it definitely came from the heavens. And it started off with, "I don't normally do this, but I just wanted to tell you about what I'm creating." And this is an
Wow.
all American cold calling company. We started off with one niche, all American. We didn't even have foreign cold callers back then.
Interesting.
And on that post, over 280 people commented that they were interested in this group.
What?
Yes. So this post literally written from the heavens. I am not kidding you. Like God took control of my body, wrote
Holy
this fucking
cow.
email, and I wrote up this thing, I hit send and comment, notification. It was
Wow.
all day long. So when I saw that it spread like wildfire, I created 13 bullet points right away of the benefits of my service.
Yeah.
Okay. And I started creating mass emails, and my cell phone number went on everything. Bam, bam. I stayed up till 2 in the morning, and I messaged all 287 people,
Nice.
every single one. I did not say I'll get to it tomorrow. I did not say later. I said, holy shit, we're on fire. It's go time. Okay.
Interesting.
So
Mm.
now I email everyone. I wake up the next day. I posted this in a Facebook group with 65,000 people in it. I
Yeah.
wake up the next day, deleted. Yeah, deleted. At first, I was devastated. I was like, oh no, my marketing engine. What happened? I just revved it up and killed it all within a 24-hour window.
Interesting.
But my capital, the way that I capitalized on the whole situation, I ended up messaging everyone. So I
Yeah.
lost nothing. I lost
Interesting.
zip. So that next day, I signed up 20 clients.
Oh my God.
20 clients out of the 287 emails sent. 20 called him bot the next day.
Wow.
And I called my boss that same day. This is how I moved way too quickly. That same
Yeah.
day, and I was like, I quit.
Yeah.
You know?
Holy cow. And
Mhm.
10% closing ratio. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. And that
Dude,
was, yeah.
that's phenomenal. Now, so you made this transition, and something strikes me that's unique about you that I think a lot of small business owners are guilty of that you don't seem guilty of. And you were saying this on your live, your Zoom live earlier, your Facebook live earlier. Um, you said the statement, you just accept opportunity. And you don't seem like you dwell on, is this idea right or not? It's almost like you observe, and when you see energy just moving, you grab it. So is
Right.
that something that's natural to you, or have you had to cultivate that?
You know, I've always, I think natural is the word because I was a soccer player growing up. So
There's
like,
just flow on the field.
what do you do when you see the ball?
Yeah, you just
You
run to it.
fucking,
Yeah, you
you're
grab it. Yeah.
and I think that's almost the same exact analogy, you just brought up. Like, I'm just like, whoa, there it is, and then and I'm just all over it, and that's
Interesting.
actually, just so you know, that's what I call pursuing new ideas. And so I'm actually getting a couple of epiphanies here. But
Yeah.
so I'm creating an IV therapy company right now, mobile in-home IV therapy. and
Interesting.
and one of the things
Like
I
the
do
blood of
is,
young children, changing out
yeah,
blood. I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
we hired Hillary. We got her in her. We got her.
They've already got that system on lock. Let's just.
she, she's our spokesperson. Let's
That's
just say
horrible.
this works. Let's just
Yeah,
say this
man.
works. But so I'm starting
I
this
think
thing,
they're.
and then what I do is I call it running down an idea. I say run it down. And what I
Yeah.
like to do is when I get an idea, I run it down into the dirt. Now
Mm,
sometimes, like lead mining, I run it up into the clouds,
yeah.
and it becomes $1 million business.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what? It wasn't, maybe it wasn't good, but you know what? What did I say early on? Nothing costs me money. So
Yeah.
I don't do anything. I don't lose money. I might lose a month worth of research, investing, and by investing I mean my time.
Yeah.
You know, I may lose a month worth of stuff like that, but you know what? That's not a loss to me
No.
because I just learned so much running it down. So,
Yeah.
back to like your comment of like, is it natural? I've actually the fear flipped the fear. You guys can quote me on that. I flipped the fear. And instead of being scared of failure,
Yeah.
I am instead like, I got to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I got to see where this takes off to. And
That'd
then
be a great ball cap.
I
I
run it
saw your
down.
new ball cap. That would be a
Yeah.
huge ball cap. Flip the fear,
Yeah.
um,
Flip the fear. Yeah. I
and
like
make it a
that.
trigger. And like I've learned this from public speaking. So I started in public speaking in high school and theater. I am sometimes more comfortable with an audience of thousands than I am even one on one. And what
Sure.
I've learned is I don't know about you, but when I experience like fear, I almost feel a jumpiness in my diaphragm, actually physically. And I've learned from that. And when I did big surfing, when I was a kid growing up surfing on the East Coast, when there to be a huge swell, I'd get that same feeling. And I'm like, what is this? I didn't have a name for it. And then I realized, oh, that's fear. And at first, when I
Right.
realized that, because I didn't have a name for it, I took that as a sign that this was something to run towards. This is something that if I don't do, I'm going to be
Mm.
freaked out. Later, when I found out, oh my God, this is fear, I had already been angered that you flip, like trademark pending by Nicholas here. But when you flip
Flip
that
the fear.
fear, basically what you do is you make that the trigger for action.
Exactly. Oh, wait, I might learn something. For me, it's not failure, it's education, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like anchoring down. But you know
Yeah.
what? If I put $5,000 down, it would be failure. You with me?
Yeah.
So I like put other things in place to mitigate
Mm.
loss. So that
Yeah.
way I can maybe move more freely and I can
Yeah.
anchor down on my core values, which is like learning. Heck,
Yeah.
the worst thing I'm gonna do is learn about this and watch what happens. In 2 years from now, an IV therapy company hires me to be the CEO because
Yeah.
of this company I created to, you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
we never know what is gonna happen, which is back to your point
Interesting.
of taking every opportunity.
Well, so there's a concept that I'm sure you're aware of or you've come across, and that every project to get off the ground takes TEM, time, energy, and money. And it's a pie and it's finite. It takes a finite amount of time, energy, or money. And if you have
Hmm.
no time, you got to throw more money and energy at it, or vice versa.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I have not thought about this until you were just talking about it. Quite often, when you talk to wealthy people, they say quite often, become very skilled at buying and selling time. You don't want to give something your time, because that's the only finite resource you actually have. You can find more money, but there is
Right.
a caveat to that I'm hearing from you, and that is, if I'm not going to throw money at it because I'm bootstrapping it, I'm going to approach it a different way. And you could throw 10 grand at something, but those 10,000 greenbacks don't learn anything, and neither did you. But when you throw
Right.
your time at it, you got the visceral, it's almost like jumping in a mosh pit. You got the visceral experience of how that thing flows. And now you're like, okay, is this for me or not? And
You
because you're
know,
in it.
and I love that you said that because as a child, I was a very aggressive person. There really is no better way to word it. I played a lot of soccer, a lot of
Mm,
martial arts.
yeah.
Um, I had some unsavory behavior pop up as well on top of that. But you know what? I was highly aggressive. And now that you're saying this, I see how it's the same trait. The same way I would run into a bully's fist head on would be
Yeah.
the same way that I run into these business situations. That same aggression, I stopped
Mm,
pointing it at people,
yeah.
okay, and I started pointing it at problems. And
Mm,
like you were saying, there's a couple things. Number one, bootstrapping it the way that I do, I
yeah.
actually come out a CEO is
Yes.
what happens.
Yeah.
I actually come out like did that job, did that job. See, the thing about restaurant management, as I go back to it for a clear example, is by the time I got the highest promotion, I had done every job
Oh,
almost
yeah.
perfect, almost perfectly. Like I had worked the slow nights and had the best numbers because I knew how to send staff home. I worked in
Yeah.
the slowest restaurants and still had the most profit as a percentage.
Mm,
So like when I say that to say like no manager underneath me has any excuses because
yeah.
I did it all. And
Yeah.
when you bootstrap it, and I don't mean any excuses like they're in trouble. You know what else they
Sure.
have? A
Yeah.
mentor is what they have. You
Yeah.
know, but they also can't come to me with an excuse because I've already myth busted all of their excuses because I've done it. And the
Yeah.
bootstrap, now that you explain it that way, is what I'm seeing is actually my secret sauce.
Yeah.
It gives me the edge. It gives me the opportunity to get that head start. Now,
Mm,
that being said, Grant, a lot of things don't resonate with me.
hmm.
A lot of times I'll start something new, and at the
Yeah.
end I go,
Eh.
yeah, So I'll give you a small example. So I
Yeah.
I do have a consulting side of my business where
Mhm.
I do business consultings for like random industries and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Normally, they're like solopreneur businesses who want to scale out and need more employees. Basically, done what I've done at Lead Mining: take my army of one that I had and turn me
Yep.
into an actual company. Those are the people. Well, I decided to throw a 2-day event in my house. You may
Okay.
remember there was some stuff on Facebook about it.
Yeah.
So I charged $2,000 per person. I had 10 people in my house. I made $20,000 for roughly maybe 3 days worth of work.
Sure.
And when it was over, I had all 10 people leave a glowing testimonial. Nick is the man. I love being here. This is great. And when it was done, I was like, I wouldn't do that again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, that idea worked wonderfully. It worked excellently. Everyone was incredibly happy. But the reality is, Grant, I really value my free time.
Yeah.
And as much as I loved, and I did love giving back to those entrepreneurs
Yeah.
over those 2 days, that was amazing. But you know what I love even more? Waking up and not having anything that I have to do. That's actually what I like more. And there's other things I can pursue in my business
Yeah.
that fuel that side of my life.
I don't know if this is I don't know if that is an ADD trait, a male trait, or like forget gender, like a masculine trait, the aesthetic. I
Sure.
don't know what
Yep.
that trait is, but sometimes my wife can suggest to do something and I might have wanted to do the same thing. But because it was there and given to me and I didn't impose it in the world, it comes across differently. I don't want it as much. And
Yeah.
sometimes, and that's a flawed relationship. She's over here laughing at me like, what a ridiculous dick. And it's like, it's true. Yeah.
So
But
true
there
though.
is something about waking up, the autonomy. I would rather struggle with autonomy
Right.
and get by that way than have a $20,000 weekend, but like a strong, too strong of a syllabus. Like sometimes I just want to wake up and go this direction instead of that one. And
Right.
why does it always have to be, what the calendar says per se? But I do know this about my ADD. If I don't have the structure though, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere.
Right.
So the
Right.
fact that you have streams of income already, you're on the other side of that
Hmm.
hump. There is some luxury, I think, to not that you're lazy, but there is some luxury to the free will, if you will, of going,
Yeah.
okay, I know where the next few paychecks are coming from, so I can kind of play it by ear. Sometimes I think people
Right.
need that structure to get
Yeah.
anywhere.
Well,
On
yeah,
that point,
and that
oh, go ahead.
good. No, I was gonna say, and that's kind of, what got me here in a sense. You know what I mean? I am now at a point where I can pick and choose. I mean, other people might be like $20,000 in 2 days. What an asshole! How dare he say he
How
doesn't
dare
want
he
to
say
do
that's
that?
too bad?
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
it's like, but whenever you have $5,000 days in your other business and you don't really
Yeah.
do anything, you
Yes.
just have to like really pick and choose. And
Yeah.
I'd really rather work one on one with the client, charge them one less, and probably even help their business more. I mean,
Yeah.
although we had a great time over those 2 days, I've only talked to like three of them since. Like, I like the long play relationship,
Yeah.
more so than like, the big audience.
Yeah. So that leads me to a question. You have been exposed to a lot of entrepreneurs. I'm sure a lot of people like me, once they start seeing a few successes, or in your case, a lot of success, they start knocking and asking for all kinds of advice. I really wanted to ask you this because of your unique view of not just your position and the successes you created, but also the unique way your mind works. Where do you see other small business owners just absolutely dropping the ball? Like what paradigm are they missing, or what are they overthinking, or what are they not thinking enough about? Have you seen like a consistent pattern?
Yeah, boy, have I seen a pattern recently. So, so there's two things. I should write them down because I'll probably forget them. I probably already forgot one.
We'll
Um,
record this one.
One of them is experience. Okay. Which, everything I'm going to say is probably going to make sense with the previous shit that I said. I'm pretty consistent. But it's like, are you getting enough experience you really need? And is the experience you are getting even matter? Are you still doing your own payroll? You don't need any more payroll experience. Okay. There's nothing,
Interesting.
there's nothing more you can learn about fucking payroll. Okay. Stop doing payroll. All right. Like go out, give that to someone who makes $6 an hour in the Philippines. Okay. Double check their work and then go out and run some Facebook ads for yourself.
Interesting.
Go out. What do you think your next big lead generation problem or strategy is? And can you even
Interesting.
handle lead generation? Is your fulfillment even set up? My strategy is to dive in. I run my own Facebook ads. I run my
Yeah.
own Google ads. What I'm going to do with this video that we're filming right now is I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you for a copy. Me
Yep.
and my assistant are sitting here right now, I don't know if you can tell, that's video editing software
Yeah.
in the background. We're editing my other 40 podcasts that I've been on.
Yeah.
And I take these things and I clip them up. And, you know, do I have any experience doing this? No. Do I know what the fuck I'm doing? No, I
That's the
don't.
quote. That's the quote I'm going to put down.
No,
That's funny.
I don't know what I'm doing. But you know
Yeah.
what? I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
in
you know what?
6
I don't
months,
know if you know this, but like most of the people I follow, specifically one, when you go into a project or a business, you kind of wear all the hats, and like you're saying with bookkeeping, as soon as you build a system around it, you start delegating it. But as long as you still work in the business, you have two major jobs. One is kind of that admin leadership hat. The other is marketing. If you're doing anything other than, there's no one better. You cannot hire a better marketer then that's your only job from there on out. And I've watched you pretty closely from that regard, because I'm trying to take on that mantle. I've been saying this story loop. I'm not a marketer for so long that I've worked myself into a corner, and I've been trying to shift that. So it's funny to hear you say that. Tactically, my last role in this company is, you were talking about some biz dev stuff too, but that actually is a marketing activity. Is like, well, like what other industries, what other niches? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that.
So, and I'll answer the other question before I go. And please remind me to tell you about my marketing breakthrough recently. It's going to totally correlate with what you're going through. But the other thing entrepreneurs aren't doing right, or small business owners, is they're not asking, oh boy, I've learned a lot about humans over the last couple of weeks, but they are not asking the right questions. I've learned over the last couple of weeks that we all have this underlying fear, this delusion about something, whether it's a relationship, a business, the way something's operating. And the one question we need to ask that fucking person, we are not asking them.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
So like, for example, the best thing I could think of is, I'll use a relationship. Okay. So I meet you. We are madly in the first 3 dates, are crushing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't even know. And we just met, like, we're both like 30s and our 40s. Like, we don't even know. There's probably other dating happening. I have no idea. But when neither one of us are asking the other one if anyone is special in our lives.
Interesting.
Like, we're totally ignoring the elephant in the room. We both know it's a reality. We're both these amazing people. We've just met each other. There must be other amazing connections. What are we, blind? What do we think? We're the only one who deserves this person's attention? Right? And we ignore the one question we need to ask them.
Interesting.
Which is, are you seeing somebody else? And it's not even that question's a deal breaker. But when that question doesn't go asked for 2 months, and things are much more serious, that answer starts to suck further down the road. So, like, let's correlate that to an employee.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't think your employee is, you know, they're doing a decent job, you know, enough for you to justify keeping on paying them, you know, but are they bringing you to $1 million? Are they going to be a part of that winning team? You could go in there and go, hey, Betsy, so what are you doing between the times of 8 and noon every day? I'm just making a standard operating procedure.
Check in.
You know, one thing I do with my team, I got it right here, bro. I'm always practicing what I preach. This is my assistant, Raphael's schedule.
Okay.
8 to 9, make posts. 9 to 10, straighten up. 10 to 11, daily tasks. 11 to 2, edit videos. And I just showed you video editing is up on the screen, right? So, and guess what? It's 2:30. So we stopped that for me to jump on this. But so that's what I do with my employees. And it's because the one question you're scared of asking, I won't stop asking.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly confronting my own delusion. And that's what it is. That's what makes it. We don't want to burst our own bubbles. We're so busy playing into our own story that everything's great and wonderful that, like, we're not even, you know, except the person who hasn't been to work in 3 weeks and you're still paying her full payroll for some reason. But everything's peachy because as long as I keep paying her, and the business is still working. So watch for that one question. I call it one question because it's one question at a time. But
Yes.
watch for that one question you keep avoiding, or the one
Yeah.
task, because you should focus on it, but you also don't know at the same time. It's actually your fear that you were speaking of earlier that keeps us from asking that question.
And I think we also, so I have this belief that everyone always knows. You always know. People always actually know what to do in a given situation. You knew you should have quit that restaurant job. You knew it, you knew it,
Hmm.
you knew it. We all know. We know we should break up with that date, that person we've been
Yeah.
dating, and it's just not work. We know we should get rid of that employee. And the answer is your phrase, that one question. Because if you ask that one question, we often procrastinate because the intuition we have is that if I ask this question, I might not know the implications, but I have a sense it's going to mean more work for me. And so we're like, we
Oh
just keep
wow.
going until something magically takes care of itself. Maybe she'll break up with me. Maybe the employee will quit for me. I mean, and you're like, oh,
Dude,
it never
dude,
happens.
all these dumb managers, the worst quote, if you ever catch yourself saying this, it will fix itself. Just fire yourself. Just fire yourself from it will not fix itself. Nothing
Yeah,
in the history of anything has ever fixed itself.
that's
And
funny.
I used to
That's
work for a
funny, man.
manager. I used to work for a manager, and we had this bad employee, and she'd go, "Yeah, they'll figure it. It'll figure itself out." And I would be like, "How?
No, it won't.
How is it gonna? Is she gonna fire herself?" And so
Yeah,
I'll just say a couple things off of that. Number one, your worst employee will never quit,
yeah, yes,
ever.
that's
Why?
true.
Because they think they already have you tricked. If they
Hmm.
quit working for you, they think they have to go trick somebody
Somebody
else,
else.
the
That's right.
thinking that they're a good employee. So let me tell you guys right now, I've had over probably 2,000 employees in my life, and I bet I've fired over 100 people. Okay, it's
Wow.
5%. Figure that one out. But so I'm dead serious. Fire that son of a bitch. Okay, they are they they fire them, dude. You fire them. I hope 4 people stop watching this and fire their employees right now.
Like hang
You know,
up and leave and
and
yeah.
yeah, actually, don't even finish this podcast and go fire
Yeah.
that person you've been waiting to fire. And it's because they are tricking you. And you know what else they're doing is they're taking your resources. They're
Yes.
taking the T and the E from the
Yes, right.
TEM model you
That's
spoke of
right.
earlier. They're taking your time and your energy, and you can't focus on marketing or growth because you've got someone around who for some bite the bullet. You know what I've told people? I am a worse leader for allowing you to work here.
Yeah.
I've said that to people. And then I've said to them, good news is I am no longer that worst leader because you are fired.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh. I try to bring more empathy to the thing of, you know what? I don't think this is a fit for you. This isn't the best thing for you. Right? Like
right.
you're far more direct. I'm like, you're
Well,
not
I
happy
got to
here, right? No, I'm not happy here. Okay.
well, and that's actually my other one, right? Is hey, I don't even ask them. I go, you're not happy here. You're
Yeah,
not happy here. And they go,
that's true.
yes, I am. And I would say, if you were, we wouldn't be having this talk right now.
That's right.
Okay. If you
That's
were
right.
happy here, we would not be here. So, and and
Interesting.
and you know what else? Like it's just like a relationship. I would tell these. I remember one time, I paid this guy minimum wage, $8. Maybe it was. I think it was 8.25 an hour. I was working at Dunkin' Donuts. I fired this guy. I fired a lot of people. Dude, Dunkin' Donuts has a lot of firings that go
Yeah,
on.
I bet.
Okay,
Yeah.
and probably even more that I didn't fire. Okay, but
Okay.
so I fired this guy, and Nick, I want my job back. I want my job back. I want it every day. And I said, I forget what his name was. We'll call him Robert for lack of a better term. I said, Robert, why are you fighting so hard for this job? I said, I don't get it, Robert. I literally pay you minimum wage, which means if I could pay you less, I would. Like, this is not a job even worth continuing. You don't even want this job. This isn't a $40,000 a year job. Like you're
Yeah.
making, please go. You know what, Robert? Go get a new job
Yeah.
and good luck. And that's
Yeah.
exactly that person, that worst employee
Yeah.
mentality. He would rather talk me into being stupid again and hiring
Yes.
him back and not having to trick a whole nother system,
Interesting.
then
That's
do that.
interesting, man. And you know what? It's been tough for me because I am a selectively naive optimist. I intentionally overlook the bad in people. But I have had to learn that because I came from a ministry background, and that
Sure.
is where you just overlook the infractions in people's lives and look for what makes them good. And I had to learn the hard way that that is true of everyone on the planet except my employees, because there's a different internal bar of I will still act that way for everyone, but I can no longer be that way internally for my employees. So I'm glad you called that out. Listen, for the second time, I need to ask, what is this marketing breakthrough?
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, hit me.
So, so I didn't put $1 into marketing for the first year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Then COVID hits.
Yeah.
And I get really smart. And right when COVID hits, I was like, I'm learning Facebook.
Yeah.
It's happening. And I didn't pay a market. Actually, one of my clients was a Facebook ad guy. So I gave him free cold calls to run my ads for the first couple of weeks, but he really didn't run my ads very much, but he taught me how to run my ads,
Okay.
which was priceless.
Okay.
And so he taught me the fundamentals. So now I'm going through everything. I'm doing all this stuff. And Facebook, I don't know if anyone's out there running their own stuff, but man, it was like an infant crawl in the beginning.
Sure.
Really figuring. I don't even know, what does that button do? Let's run that one at $10 a day for a little bit and see what that button. What's this button do? And honestly, I think I really am like the mad scientist. I know I seem like I'm full of energy, but I'm amazing with numbers. And I have this like my schedule, or I have this like unique organization and experimentation that I'm always playing.
Interesting.
So I'm doing this thing, teaching myself Facebook ads. A year goes by. I'm crushing it. For anyone who knows Facebook numbers, I'm getting new customers at $25 a purchase. And my average product price is like $400. I mean, I am like,
Wow.
dude, I was slaying it. I could not
Wow.
believe it. And dude, I'm dumb as shit. Like when I say dumb as shit, I
I know.
mean, I'm an infant in this process. I
Sure.
don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know about emojis. I'm not even an emoji person at this point. I swear to God, And now you can't. If you want to add it without emojis, I don't.
Forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not doing too good. Okay. But so, anyways, I'm running these ads. So then I get this brilliant idea. Now I'm getting into the epiphany, and I go, if I'm this good, and I'm not even trained, man, a professional company, dude, they're going to be able to make me billions of dollars if I hire professionals, right? I'm just dumb old me. So I find this company. I give them $23,000. Okay. My single biggest investment in my business to date.
All right.
Seriously,
I know.
my only, other than marketing dollars, my only investment. I did have an automation company set up automations for $9,000. So literally 9,000 automations make sense though, because that saves me labor.
Direct labor ROI. Yeah.
Directly, exactly. And improve customer support because there's now automation. So the automation is a no-brainer. But this is a fugazi. Okay, this is like this isn't even real. Okay, so I give these guys $23,000. Holy shit! They write up this contract. I think I just finished a year. Okay, I was only supposed to be with them for 3 months.
Okay.
And we got such horrible results that they kept working for me for 9 months for free. As how bad the results were. Now, I'll give it to them, man. They never stopped working with me, dude.
Okay.
I'll give it to them. Okay. I'll give it to them. Thank you, team, for never giving up on me because they could have said, you know what, buddy, you're done. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm a pretty good customer when I'm pissed. Okay.
Okay.
I know when to yell. I know when to be cool. I know when to ask. I know when I shouldn't be paying. Right.
Okay.
So like I was pretty cool. I even went to their live event and gave them a great testimonial video. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is actually the only thing I've ever publicly said
Yeah.
about them, but it doesn't
Okay.
make it any less the truth.
Sure.
So after the year, things were actually going in the right direction.
Okay.
So then I fired them because that taught me, I was like, they've got me back to where I was in my phase. And I was like, you know what? It's on me. So how you were just saying how you're working on this breakthrough. So I just hired Frank Kern for $9,000. I just got a marketing course with him. And it teaches me. It's not him doing the work. And what I'm doing, and this is what I'm going to recommend you do, is I'm owning my genius right now.
Yes. I like this sentence.
I'm owning my genius, and my genius is marketing. And you know what? I got good at it. And then just like payroll, I tried to outsource it, like we talked about.
Yeah.
Except, marketing isn't like payroll at all.
Correct.
It's a living thing, and while you can outsource some things, and then it hit me like, I'm never going to outsource my marketing again for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Now you might grow to the point where you hire it in, and now you can take your Spartan marketer self and go, no shit, I've been here. Let me tell you something. And you pay 20 grand. That's like I spent a semester in college at this shit, both learning from other people and learning from myself. Here's the system. Here's how we're doing this from here on out. And you can hire it in, but you'll never hire it out again. That's
and that's exactly what's happened. So that's why me and my assistant are editing videos now,
because
I realize I'm better off building somebody into, you know what I need? I don't need a professional marketing team. I need someone who executes my wishes is what I need.
And especially as it comes to your genius, as it comes to the marketing. That's brilliant. I dig that, dude. And that's exactly Gary Vee's model.
Right.
He paid this D-Rock guy to follow him around and be like, listen, I know this sounds way off the wall, but let's literally go flipping garage sales right now. And it's like, what? Trash picking or whatever he calls his little episodes. Just follow me around. Trust me, this is gonna launch. And I would say that, like, I don't know the best of the best in terms of production and even delivery for like our website company. But I know that if I could have someone, like I say this a lot, and Marissa's gonna laugh when she hears me say this. She's sitting over here. No one calls you out like a partner. She goes, I say this all the time. I just wish someone would just do what I'd say. As it comes to production and fulfillment, that's actually not true. I just feel that way. But as it comes to marketing, I absolutely think, I suspect that is true. If I could just have someone just do this, cut this film, take this audio, slice it and dice it.
That's exactly right.
It would work.
That's exactly right. I don't need someone like I said. So what we do, our system here is he actually plays my marketing videos on the 85-inch television. And it's because I know the nuggets that I'm saying. He doesn't know the nuggets, but I can go pause, clip, cut, go. And now while I'm still doing all my work, he's still plowing through videos.
That's great.
Even today, we got 6 pieces of content out of like an old podcast I did. Yeah. And some of them I'm like, that's a good Facebook ad. That's a good marketing tool. That's a good this thing. And so I'm working on that model of, and I guess you could probably call it the gopher model. I feel like, whenever you have someone in a high directive position and you're just, in the beginning, they're going to need that. In the end, after they do it for 2 months, now it's, hey, edit these videos, sort these photos.
It's not like production. Some of it's very subjective. And like you and I coming up with a system for that subjectivity is tough. We need to cultivate an intuition in them and to learn you. So that relationship will probably be more intimate with you for a long time than some of your other.
And I love that you said that, because this is why. So This is actually my assistant. He's been with me for 6 months. This is actually a new responsibility, which
Mm.
allows, because he already knows me. He's already been hanging out with me every day for 6 months. So if
Yeah.
anyone understands my vision or the way I communicate, it's that guy right there. Have a good day,
Yeah.
brother. I'll
High
see you
fives.
tomorrow, man. Yeah, he's leaving right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
He's
time.
getting
It's
out
that
of here.
time of day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see him flex. There we go. Well, hey, I've got to cut it off. We got to run. I'm sure it sounds like you and I could talk all freaking afternoon, and I
Yeah,
dig
no
that.
doubt.
Where can people follow you and then check out lead mining? So first off, where can people follow you most?
So, Facebook, which I think they might be watching this on Facebook.
Yeah, they're
So,
watching it on my Facebook and then State of the Spark, but we'll tag you as well.
yeah. And so once you guys see that tag, so the Facebook is going to give you probably your biggest dosage of me from stories. I'm creating this new YouTube channel called Pathway to a Million that I'm actually
Nice.
releasing. Yeah, I'm actually releasing that on Facebook first, and then I'm going to edit the videos and then put them out,
That's the
just
way
like
to
we were
do it.
talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. So you can watch my journey there. My
Okay.
personal life is all over my stories. You can find that
Yeah.
there or on Instagram.
Yep.
Um, Instagram is easy _ Nicholas Nick _ um,
Mm.
and then my business is just leadminingpros.com.
Boom.
You'll probably love what you find there. My cell phone number is on the website. So
Nice.
if you go to the website and you just want to call and chat or really see if I really answer my own cell phone, which we didn't even cover that, but
Yeah.
the phone number on my website does go directly to my cell phone.
That's badass.
So if anyone, yeah, it's been a huge secret to my success.
Interesting.
Yeah, when they call and they get me, like
Yeah.
these people literally will talk to me for 5 minutes about how they're surprised that they got me, you know. It's really cool. It's really cool. Like they're so starstruck, and I'm really not even a star.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
but yeah, guys, feel free to check me out, dude. I'm available and I'm always around. You want to jump in my DMs? You got a question for me?
Yeah.
I am consider me like a free coach. You're not gonna pop. I'm not gonna sell you a product. Not
Sure.
everyone gets sold something that says hello. So feel free to
Yeah,
reach
man.
out.
Well, I really appreciate your time. And to everyone watching, I hope you got something from Nicholas, man. His journey is wild and his energy
Yeah.
is off the charts, which I love. And actually, we'll probably have to circle back and talk about the woo-woo shit because I
Yeah.
think you have a zone of woo-woo that I
Yeah.
love, but we have to schedule more time for
It's a
that. So,
whole. It's a
guys,
whole nother talk. Yeah.
a whole nother topic. Guys, check out
Yeah.
leadminingpro.com. Check out _Nicholas Nick _. And thank you so much, man. Have a great afternoon, guys.